Okay, I'm gonna do it. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Can we count down from 10?
Yes.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. ThomasWoodenRailway!
Yeah. All right. So we have a lot to talk about.
So if you're not on Twitter, you might not know that Sidekickjason and I met up recently, and I've actually been hanging out with him for a week. And at the end of this meetup, Jason flew down to my home in New Jersey, where in the same airport, I happened to meet up with this guy over here. We've been having fun the past few days, and one of the reasons we were late was we were stuck in traffic after a hobby shop crawl. We went to 3 different hobby shops today, and they probably got better and better as we went through the whole day.
Yeah.
The first one was very sketchy, but it was very close to my heart. It's the Mountain Lakes train station in Mountain Lakes, New Jersey, and it's like on a ramp that goes into a basement, and the door is wide open. There's only like 2 souls working there. It was dimly lit, but I had been there since I was a kid, and I loved it. And then we went to a hobby shop in Somerset, which was on this beautiful main street. There were festivals going on, and there were like old cars on display.
There was a car show going on. It was really cool.
And it was run by, I think, the former owner's wife, and it was just more well lit and welcoming, and we enjoyed that quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third place turned out to be an eBay seller's house. He listed his own. It was a little awkward. It was a private residence.
So we showed up at this guy's house. We're looking for like a train store. We're driving through a residential neighborhood, and we're like, this is kind of weird. And yeah, like, you know, the address he had listed on Google was his house. So we get there and we're like, oh, this is obviously incorrect.
Because he posted his hours, like, we're open from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. And I'm like, I have never seen a hobby shop open this late. We got to go. And it was because it was the guy's house.
That's funny.
So yeah, we've been here a couple of days. We've hung out, we've done some filming. Today we went basically like model shopping, like sightseeing for model shops. And it's been a very relaxing but fun couple of days for sure. It's been really fun. I've had a great time.
Yeah.
So we thought I mean, we're not capping off the week necessarily, but we knew Friday, a lot of people, if they were going to be able to watch a live stream, it'd be probably either Friday or Saturday night. So we're doing this right now. And well, I just want to apologize. We announced on social media and stuff, this was going to start at 8 our time, and it's 10:45. So we're a little late if you're good at math. We got stuck in traffic on the way back, and then I've never done a live stream like this, obviously. So I had to set some stuff up, and it was a little bit complicated, but now we're kind of up and rolling. Promise I'm trying to check this on my phone as we're doing it. I don't know how many viewers. We got 197 people watching. That's great.
That's awesome. Oh my god.
That's amazing.
How do I get as many subscribers as you, Chase?
He's a mysterious man who knows the secret.
My name's Chase.
Oh, sorry.
Thanks to Jason. Yeah.
Whoops.
I was trying so hard. I was like,
you can't pass that off for anything. It's okay.
my boy ThomasWoodenRailway, that's his name.
Keith Gray.
Last name 24, right here.
Keith Gray. On my birth certificate, it's like 20-4. All right. So, do we have anything specific we want to talk about right now?
Anything specific? Oh, do you want to talk about some of the finds you had at the hobby shops today?
They said fines as in like graphic fines.
Yeah, fine.
Oh, I had to put a D in that sentence.
Okay. Yeah, so we went to the 3 stores. First store was a little sketchy, but it had a ton of cool stuff. Matt, by your account, Matt, it used to have a ton, like a lot of wooden railway stuff, right?
There was a whole shelf dedicated to it, and there were only scraps of it left today, and it was probably the same stuff that I had seen like 6 or 7 years ago. My dad's last name was still in their system, so like I got on my own account I made today. I hadn't been there in several years, but they still have plenty of Lionel. They hold so much pre-war and standard gauge Lionel trains and American Flyer buildings that they had a great selection. Just maybe not as much for the wooden railway connoisseur. They also had Lego Atlantis sets. They had a huge variety of things. On Mountain Lakes is great, but it was a ghost town in there.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you'll know this if you go to model train stores. It's all run by like older guys. This one was no exception. There were just old people in there. Nothing wrong with old people, but that's the thing.
We had to explain YouTube in great detail to him because I wanted to show like this is why I haven't been here. I've been YouTubing for so long, but he just didn't understand. We had to explain how people make money off YouTube and how they run their channels and how our content worked.
Yeah,
which is so foreign.
he was actually pretty knowledgeable about, like, I've encountered some people who, when I try to explain what I do, and they're older people, they just do not get it. You're like, I mean, they don't even have a concept of the internet. So this guy actually kind of, I mean, he knew that, like, yeah, you could upload videos to the internet. I don't think he necessarily knew what YouTube was, but he's, I mean, good chunk of the population has seen a YouTube video, whether you know it's on YouTube or not. So he was actually pretty knowledgeable in a sense, you know. He kind of, I think he got the gist of it, what we were talking about. Like, yeah, you know, we make YouTube videos, so.
I don't want to get too New Jersey on you guys, but the hobby shop that we went to first, the owner built the train layout seen in the Sopranos TV show, and you got to meet the actors and everything. So that's one of the claims to fame of the hobby shop.
He had pictures in his store. James Gandolfini?
Gandolfini, yeah.
Was the main
guy. He had
guy?
pictures with James Gandolfini in the shop, which that was really easy.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was the first store. It was kind of sketchy when we got there. There was a big Lionel train store, or Lionel train sign on the outside, but then you kind of had to walk down like this embankment. And I mean, if we went there at night, it'd be like I thought we were walking in the back door, but literally that's just where the store is located. So we walked in, ceiling's really low, but it's like packed to the top with a bunch of Lionel stuff. And I'm not super knowledgeable about this, but these guys were going off, and Matt's like, man, they got post-war stuff, and I'm like, I didn't even know post-war existed. So it was really cool. They had a couple of layouts in there. I mean, Matt can explain it better. They had some Thomas stuff. But the reason I brought it up is because they had a couple of, they're like bookshelves that are themed for the Thomas Wooden Railway brand. And at the top, it's got like a nice Thomas Wooden Railway logo. It's from the 90s when, you know, somebody actually cared about Thomas Wooden Railway. And they didn't, it was kind of full of all this random stuff, but they had the only Thomas Wooden Railway stuff they had in there. They had 2 boxes of Wellsworth Station, which are probably at this point, they're close to like 15 years old. So that was really cool. I totally would have bought one, but I already have one. So, and I think they were $40, which that's not too bad. That's probably what they are on eBay. So he had 2 of those, and then on the bottom shelf, he had something called the Echo Tunnel, which I don't have in my collection. I don't remember even seeing it in stores for super long. I've seen it on eBay. But problem is, I flew here. I don't have a ton of room in my suitcase, so I couldn't get it. It's not one of those destinations either that I like really wanted to get. So it was fine, but that was literally the only 2 Thomas Wooden Railway things this guy had. And then at the very bottom, he had like a bin of secondhand track that somebody brought in that he was selling like $1 for a straight piece of track, stuff like that. So that was all the Thomas Wooden Railway stuff they had in there. No Trackmaster, no Take Along, Take and Play, Adventures, collectible stuff. And did you say all you wanted to about the Lionel stuff, or do you have more? I mean, I wish I could speak about it. There was just a ton of Lionel stuff. That's all I really know, but yeah, so Matt knows more about me than I do.
Yeah, I used to have a Lionel layout and a Lionel channel briefly. And I used to go there since I was like 6 or 7 years old, and I probably stopped around the middle of high school. So it was really fun to go back. He gave us a bunch of free catalogs.
Yeah, we left those in your car.
Yeah, we'll get them.
Okay.
And just like really impressive engines. They had like a Commodore Vanderbilt that was really impressive. They had a New York Central Hudson. I got to hold a standard gauge Blue Comet, and standard gauge Lionel is like close to gauge 1, maybe a little bigger. But they're
it said it was gauge 1.
Oh, it did say gauge 1?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, but they're made entirely of metal, and it was like
massive.
A giant thing in my hands, and it was really cool to like hold one.
It was?
It was, I think, $2,000.
Yeah.
And they're incredible engines, and that was the standard size for Lionel before they like made it to a smaller gauge, like O gauge. But I've always seen them behind glass. I never got to hold one before. I don't know if I was supposed to, but I was glad that I did.
I don't think they were going to tell you not to.
So that was pretty cool.
Anything you want to add, Jason? Think you feel involved?
Let's see. About the first shop we went to? Or
any of the shops, really,
yeah.
because like, it got better as we went along, I felt.
So the first shop, what did I get there? Oh, I got some lamps that I'll put on my stations if I can get them to connect with the lighting system I've got. But it was cool because the store happened to have the Lionel set that my dad had as a kid, and my dad like kept it. And so when I was little, the only Lionel train set that we had was this particular engine and set of cars that he had and whatnot. And he actually bought like a huge bulk thing of tracks. So we'd like make a giant track that went all over like the living room and other rooms and stuff. And then I saw the Toys R Us Lionel Thomas that they had back in like 2003 or something. It was like a carnival set, and it was like $100. I like begged my dad for Christmas. I was like, I just want it. It's the only thing I want. Like, you don't have to give me anything else. Like, that's all I want. And then I got it for Christmas, and it was so fun because then it was like we had the 2 trains. We were able to run them on the layout and stuff, these giant layouts and whatnot. So it was cool, like being at the store and like seeing it amongst them. So.
Any he posted a funny picture.
So what's the caption?
I think Watson has the best smile. Oh yeah, we forgot to mention the hashtag. It's in the title of the video, but if you want to, I don't know what you call it, just like post stuff so we'll see it easier, use the hashtag Toys for Tots Livestream. A couple people posted
Are you guys
stuff.
seeing this? Watson's upset that I'm not petting him. So he will start nudging me.
I might tilt it a little more just so Watson can get in on the
so
action.
Yeah, before we started the stream, Watson was just under the table. He was just chilling out.
And we were trying to make him one of the rewards. Like we would call Watson, he would come up from the table, but now he just brought the party to us, as you can see. Oh, is he leaving?
I don't know. He might be going to you now, actually.
Yeah.
He realized I wasn't petting him enough. Oh,
He's
oh,
back.
there he is.
The boys are back.
He's like, Jason's not petting me anymore. I'm leaving.
Yeah, I'll take care of you, bud. I'm considering making a YouTube channel for Watson so he could be more a part of the community because he already has an imposter Twitter account. So I have to work on that in some way. And you just breathed so much of your hair in my mouth. Oh,
Is that what that was?
That's his hair.
Oh,
Watson's got really nice teeth, but he does not have good breath.
He does not.
So he's looking at me, so I'm like, I love you, dude. But I'm just gonna.
He's more of a cat
Sarah.
person. And Watson
Yeah,
is
I
like the most intense form
If
of
you-
dog you can have.
I do. I like dogs, but Watson sometimes he's a little too much for me. He's a big dog.
He's got a
But,
strong personality.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
yeah, that's a good point. If you follow me on Twitter, sometimes I post pictures of my cat on my layout. And I used to have a dog. That was a couple of years ago. It was a much smaller dog than this, though. But I still love you, Watson. He's a good dog. Yeah, if you just joined the live stream, welcome. I'm Turtlesandthomas here with Enterprising Engine 93. Sidekick Jason's off to the side doing common control or something. I'm Turtlesandthomas, by the way.
This is Turtles' face.
I'm Thomas and Turtles. And we hacked ThomasWoodenRailway's YouTube channel, so we're live streaming from it. Yeah, so
He also stole his voice.
yeah, it wasn't obvious.
So basically, if you are buying this Emily to hear her voice before you go to sleep, then just don't. This is not the Emily.
You want to hear bedtime stories from Emily? This is not the one for you. But yeah, if you want a flashlight, her lamp works. So yeah.
If you're lost in the forest and can't get out, and there are buffalo chasing you, this is the Emily for you.
yeah, she doesn't make a sound. So yeah, that's really all I can say. Really nice model. And you guys know, I don't like Emily at all. I really don't. But this model is really nice. And that's high praise considering I don't like pretty much everything else about this character. So that's
Emily.
Emily.
Episodes about Emily? I can't even.
No, here's
top
the
of my
fun
head.
part. Here's the fun part. So I haven't included Emily in my series in a really long time, mostly because I can't think of anything worthwhile to include her in. But it's also I just don't like her, so I don't include her. And I make the video, so
I make the call.
I make the call exactly.
You guys in the audience, let's get some really good comments going. What are some things that you've always wanted to ask Thomas Wooden Railway now that he can, face reveal, talk more about himself a little bit, and just ask some questions so we can interact with you guys. Make sure you guys are also bidding as well. The next reward will be coming soon if we can get it.
I
So
didn't even look at this.
we'll answer a few questions and then we'll check again and see what the current stats are. So yeah,
Cool.
let's see what we've got.
Oh no, he left.
Mom,
Watson left?
Oh, he is discreet. Well, I have to get him.
hashtag Watson is missing.
Oh, he's over in the corner.
Okay.
Oh, he's like out of it.
Okay. All I gotta do is say the name and he'll be back.
Okay, I saw. Are any of you interested in seeing Cars 3?
Oh, I definitely am. I have high hopes for it compared to Cars 2. So
I haven't seen Cars 2.
You're
don't
not
need
missing.
to.
You're not missing.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just say I love Cars. I love the first Cars. Second Cars combines two of my favorite interests: cars and spying, thrillers, espionage. And I do not like Cars 2. I was very disappointed when I saw it in theaters, and I've seen it like once since then, and it's a very, very disappointing movie.
It's like Cars had its niche. It was Cars, and then it's like, oh, let's mix things up. Let's make it a spy movie. It's like, I don't want to go to see. It's like you had the choice between going and watching Cars 1 and like Mission Impossible, and it's like, oh, I can't decide. I'll just watch both together in the same thing. And nah, it just doesn't work.
It's kind of a mess.
Yeah, it really was.
Michael Caine was in it. And
There
that
was,
so
there was a
cool.
lot of talent.
A lot of talent gone to waste.
Yeah, maybe.
Reminds us of something
Maybe.
Did I say that on air?
Maybe. One of the weaker parts of the movie for me, if you haven't seen it, you won't know this, but Mater is the main character pretty much. It still focuses on Lightning's adventures. But it's almost like, well, Lightning's doing all these races. Let's see what Mater's up to. And that, like, Mater could be a main character. Not that that was a poor choice, but it felt very super disconnected from the first movie. So point is, you're not missing much. I'm super excited for Cars 3 because it seems like a return to some of the same plot and, you know,
back to being about cars again.
Yeah,
like,
So it was. I do like the fact that Cars 2 takes place around the world. It's a very global movie. You know, you get to see some cool locations.
But as we've learned in 2016, global movies aren't really our favorites. So,
all right, next question.
Next question.
We may have to wait a minute.
I know the problem is we say ask a question, everybody posts them at once, but we're already talking about one.
And then everyone starts talking about that.
You may have to post it several times.
What was the first Thomas episode you remember watching?
My first VHS was Thomas Comes to Breakfast. And the very first episode was Thomas Comes to Breakfast. So that's mine.
Oh, okay. Mine was the sing-along songs and stories. So the first actual episode I saw was Peter, Sam, and the Refreshment Lady, which is why I remade it. So
that's a good one to start with. That's a very solid one.
I was very fortunate. My first VHS was Thomas Gets Tricked. But the
starting from the beginning.
Yeah, so you start from the beginning. That's great.
But there's actual video footage of me watching Donald and Douglas in a playpen, just like creeping up the top, just mesmerized at it, and I can recite that episode from start to finish.
That's great.
Those two are up there.
I've been debating actually uploading more of my so when I did my behind the scenes video, like life story type thing, I used a lot of VHS footage that I recaptured and stuff to put in it. And I have a ton of footage of me playing with trains and stuff from like when I was a kid or watching the videos. And I've been debating if I should upload that to my channel. So what do you guys think? Comment if I should or not. Like, would you guys enjoy seeing it? Would it be of any worth to you?
I'd probably melt.
I'd probably die.
It's pretty cute. So, I mean, you got me like bouncing around to the cloud and stuff. So
yeah, I mean, on a serious note, I think that'd be pretty cool. Would it be your journey by rail video, or would it just be kind of like
probably just the straight footage?
That'd be cool.
But I think a lot of people would actually. It'd be heartwarming because there's a lot of footage of me and my mom interacting, especially with the trains. So, yeah.
Cool. All right. What I'm doing right now, if I'm looking down, I'm on my phone looking at #ToysForTots livestream on Twitter. Let me see.
There are not very many questions popping up right now.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how weird is the chat? From what we've seen, it's 6, 8.
This is a 4, guys. You can get so much weirder than this.
We got some.
I'm considering the stuff that was there at the beginning.
Yeah,
too,
we had some weird stuff. Jason, throw Thomas's key crate. Throw Thomas's key crate. Throw Thomas.
No, this is so precious. No.
Throw Thomas's key crate. Throws me toward the chat. Okay, why do you like Thomas? That's kind of an interest, like a broad, like, I mean, I was exposed to like a lot of brands as a kid, but Thomas was by far my favorite. There's something there, I think, that really connects with me, connects with all of us, obviously. But I don't know, do you guys want to expand on that, or can't even really put it into words. It's like, yeah, Thomas is cool, and that's why we're still doing what we're doing, you know?
It really just makes me, like, it gets my imagination going, and that really excites me. Like, I always, like, it makes me want to be creative and want to write and want to watch things and want to immerse myself in the world of it. Like, I love Sodor. I love the classic series. And even as a kid, I was just telling stories immediately. It wasn't just, like, throwing them off a jump or throwing them in a shark's mouth or something like that. They were, like, ongoing stories, and every time I would play with them, it was, like, continuing, like, previously on this. And I would try to continue where I left off, and I would remember all this stuff. And it wasn't just Thomas. It was my Lego. It was my Bionicles. Those are like the toys that really resonated with me when I was young. And I'm so happy now that I can tell stories using my 2 favorite things, which is Thomas and Lego, as you guys can plainly see by the yellow submarine on the table. But that's definitely my story. What about yours?
love for Thomas. I'm not really sure why. Like, I know why when I was older, why I was still fond of Thomas, because it always had that special connection when I was younger. But like when I was a kid and it like stood out to me so much, I think that there was just something unique. Like I always loved the way it looked, like with the side rods moving, with the engines like pulling these long trains. Like it was just, and that and the scenery, like it was just beautiful to me. Like I don't know, it captivated my interest as a 2-year-old, and it's just followed me ever since. So
that's a good way to put it, I think. Yeah. Before we go to the next question, thanks for watching, everybody. I'm not actually Turtles. I'm ThomasWoodenRailway here with Enterprising Engine 93, Sidekickjason. We're doing a live stream and a charity auction. The link to the charity auction is in the description below. 100% of the proceeds go to charity. We got some cool items listed just in case we got some new people who have joined. So I got a question from is it Taken Play Studio?
TT&P Studio.
Okay, yeah. Basically, our friend Taylor. If not, it just
No, he has. Credits of videos. He has.
Okay. So our friend Taylor asked on Twitter using the hashtag Toys for Tots livestream, which is great to use, least favorite episode of the classic series and what you would do to change it. So what classic series is like at seasons 1 through 6? Maybe 1 through 7 if you're generous.
Let's do 1 through 5.
Okay.
We'll narrow
There's
it down.
that.
Okay, so say the question again.
Least favorite episode of the classic series.
If we included 6 or 7, I think.
Yeah, they kind of get up there. Ooh. And what keyword is what would you do to change
it? It should be 1 through 5. So it's so much harder to pick them. Okay.
I would say one episode I was never particularly fond of as a kid, I felt like I could skip, was oh man, I'm totally spacing on the name. It's gosh, I just had it. I was too busy focusing on reading the comment correctly. The reason I chose it because I had an instant answer and we wouldn't have all this dead space now. It's really hard because there's a lot of great episodes, and even the ones that aren't super good, they're solid. And there's like several key things you can take away and say, yeah, that was still a great episode. So
I'm trying to think of what episode I like fast forwarded on my VHS the most. Like I was just like, oh, I've seen this a million times. Like I don't want to watch this anymore.
It's really hard. I mean, I would, right off the top of my head, I would probably have to say something from season 5. Not that the first 4 seasons are perfect in any way, but season 5 has a lot of great moments. Okay, this is kind of cheating it, but we talked about this in the car. There's an episode called Lady Hack's Birthday Party, and it's a good title. But then in the story, like Sir Topham Hatt almost dies like 3 or 4 times. And it's a great episode, but I would change what the title's called, because Lady Hatt's Birthday Party is kind of a lame title for such an action-packed episode. Like literally, like Sir Topham Hatt's running around.
Hatt's near-death experiences.
Yeah, he's like a thing death like every 30 seconds. So since we're struggling to kind of come up with something, I'll say that there's nothing wrong with the episode itself. I would just change the title, like Sir Topham Hatt cheats death. No,
Sir Topham Hatt and the Grim Reaper.
Yeah. Sir Topham Hatt comes very close to death in other stories, or Sir Topham Hatt goes swimming, or I don't know. Have you thought of anything since I've just been kind of rambling?
I was not very fond of Birdie's Chase.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't. I remember like I had to fast forward through that one. Then also Thomas and Percy's Mountain Adventure. Like, I don't know, that one just didn't really appeal to me.
The funny part is it the U.S. narration that it's like very obviously a Christmas episode, but they don't mention Christmas at all. It's like they're dropping like winter stuff for the people. It's like a very obviously a Christmas episode with Christmas trees, Christmas lights, Christmas presents. But I think in the U.S. version they completely omitted all just the word Christmas for some reason. That was puzzling as a kid because I was like, This is Christmas. This is a Christmas.
Didn't they replace it with Thanksgiving? Like that was supposed to be the goal.
I totally agree. That is my least favorite episode of the classic series.
There you go.
I have blocked it out of my mind. Thank you. I'm sorry. That's
Like,
taking forever to
It's
think.
very, it's very memorable to have the opening with the waterfall is beautiful, but then after that it just kind of dies out. I don't know. The mountain village is such a beautiful set, but yet it appears so little. There's a lot of season 3 sets that are like that. They're like absolutely gorgeous, but like they're lucky if they appear in 1 or 2 episodes. So versus like, you know, later in the series where it's like we get the same sets over and over, but they're just dull as can be.
Mhm.
So
That was a great question because it kind of stumped us all. We
Yeah.
we found an answer eventually, but it did stump us for a
I
while.
had to think really hard, but it's Mountain Adventure by far.
Yeah.
That really bugged me.
another one, I actually was not a big fan of Percy James and the Fruitful Day because it didn't seem like a Thomas episode to me. Like the locations, like that harbor that they go to, that the wiki keeps changing the name of and stuff, doesn't feel like Sodor to me. I love the set. I think it's wonderful, but it doesn't feel like regular Sodor. It feels more like now that I've seen some episodes of Tugs, it actually feels something very fitting that would be in that, and I totally see where they were able to get the inspiration from on that. So I mean, it's not.
That's a good choice. That's a good choice.
You can't place a single location besides Sudbury in that episode.
Exactly.
That's one of the problems.
Okay, so I've actually, me and my spreadsheets, I've analyzed all of season 3.
He's
and
got
I
spreadsheets for days.
He is the most
Yeah.
organized man I have ever encountered in my life.
So
Oh
fun
my
facts about season 3 that I've learned. Episodes 1 through 15 all have the same sets, varying like which ones are used and whatnot, but only 2 sets continue on after episode 15, and the rest are all completely new sets. Most have not even been seen before, whereas the first few are like remakes of season 1 and 2 episodes.
My sister just
wonderful.
gave us chips.
We got some.
Oh, is it not
Product
Enterprising
placement.
Mom 93 from before?
Enterprising Engine 90 Mom gave us some cookies. So she has come back.
Wonderful, wonderful. What was I? Oh, so the.
Doing great, sweetie.
Thanks, Mom.
Oh, guess who returns now that we have food?
Watson's back.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, what I was saying about season 3 though is that
How much for the cookies? People are bidding. bidding
Bids
on
on
the cookies.
$50 on
We
eBay.
are not sponsored by. We are not endorsed by this fantastic cookie company, which shall remain nameless because.
I hope our stream doesn't get shut down by Nabisco.
No.
Showing chips away.
How dare they? I was saying something else though about season 3. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, they had the same sets.
So what you're saying that the 11 episodes after every single set
Yeah.
was different?
So episodes 1 through 15, they involve Knapford, they involve Dryout, like all these classic season 1 sets are brought back and remade, but they're never seen after episode 15. The only 2 sets that make it through the whole season are Tid in the Sheds, which I'm actually sure that they filmed on twice, because if you watch past James Goes Buzz Buzz, it's a different style. Like the track that is just a little bit different. And then I think it's the same one that they filmed for Thomas in the UK trip. But then Sudbury is the only other station that is there from beginning to end. So
Interesting.
that's what I was trying to point
And
out.
Sudbury's used a lot. They have the little yard
Mhm.
area. It's like an all at sea. It's in Thomas Percy and the Dragon and
Yeah.
Fruitful Day.
Yeah,
I know too much.
and then it's used in Gordon and the Famous Visitor, Thomas Percy and the Mail Train, like all these other ones too. So it's completely through the whole season, but yet nothing else is. So
Yeah.
And you're right, because some sets are episode exclusive. So many of them,
Mhm.
like Alstead Village.
yeah,
There's like the Fruitful Day, like that countryside with that weird like box that they smash into.
yeah. Well, that countryside's so weird because it was very rocky on the side too, and none of the other episodes had that. So
Could that be a redress of Mavis's marshalling yard, where like all those trucks
Oh, it
are?
could have
That's
been.
rocky and green too. That could
Yeah.
be a
Somebody
redress.
should look at some screenshots and see.
yeah,
I love these theories because now that we're older, we look at these episodes, we analyze them, we look at the screenshots,
yeah.
and you kind of see, how they film stuff, and we're obviously we make our own videos. We're the very technical side of things. We have to know that for our own series, but
Yeah.
looking at about the Thomas series is very interesting.
It definitely is. Like I've as I've been filming my own stuff lately, or like preparing to and whatnot, like I've really analyzed like how did they do this? Like I look at the behind the scenes photos and stuff. Like my current set is probably the closest I think any fan has gotten to replicating the original style of the backdrop and table and everything, and production wise. So like I have so many questions I would love to ask someone, and like I don't know if I'll ever have the opportunity to. So
That's we were talking about Percy James and the Fruitful Day. James Percy and the Fruitful Day.
I mean, I didn't like that episode.
Yeah, that's now that I think about it, it has a very strange feel to it. I do remember as a kid, I was like, I had a VHS. That was the last episode.
it was what was that?
It might have been the sing along one. You should look it up.
No, it's not the sing along. Because sing along only has
Hi,
Peter
Joel.
Sammer, Freshman Lady, and Bulldog.
Okay.
So
Anyway, there was a VHS I had, and it ended on that. And I remember thinking, or like the general feeling you got, I was like, that's not a very good episode to end this VHS on. And it's so true now that you point it, like how weird. There's just like a set of buffers in the middle of this main line that they crash into.
I wonder if it was intended to be a siding, but they just didn't
But
have the set to do it.
But I mean, as far as I know, I don't remember. I mean, I haven't seen the episode in a while. It's not like they switch onto that line at the last second.
It's the dead end, like Smash.
It's literally just a dead end.
That didn't make sense to me as a kid.
For the episode.
But there are some good things about the episode.
The other thing about that episode that was odd is that that's also where the weird Tidmouth Shed's interior, where it's more than 6 tracks, where it's like
it's all
huge
inside.
thing, that's how the episode ends. And so it's like, it really just does not feel like normal Sodor in that episode. So
that's a great point. Yeah, there's like that weird interior, those weird interior shots of Tidmouth Sheds where there's no dividers between any of the berths, and it's probably a very realistic shed because you have all the engines there. But yeah, there's way more than 6 berths. There's a ton of engines in Tidmouth Sheds, and it's used very seldomly.
oh,
Yeah,
good.
and in Grandpuff they fixed it because then there was the right number of berths inside the shed, but they still were able to do interior shots.
Yeah.
Well, this is another interesting thing. So between episodes 1 through 15, think of Henry's Forest or Thomas Percy and the Mail Train, Donald's Duck. They appear inside the regular Tidmouth Sheds. It's only after episode 15, like in Oliver Owns Up and some of these other ones, that they appear in this different shed interior. So
There must be a weird production thing happening. They
That's
had to
what I
reshoot
wanna
stuff
know.
And they had to rebuild
Like,
the set or something.
maybe I'll message the guys at SIF and see if they know anything. But like, I really wonder if they're like, did they stop production at some point and they like started again? Because it's so different. Like Tidmouth is not used until after that, and a lot takes place on Tidmouth too. So
Did MTS ban you from?
No,
YouTube?
there's imposters in the comments.
Oh, is it
yeah,
possible?
I got an
Pretty sure.
imposter of him
Pretty
commenting
sure.
on one of my videos.
Anyway,
Oh,
yeah,
I
it
was
showed up.
confused by that.
Should have been the weird chat. Yeah, Rob, I'll make you a mod in a sec.
Oh, I think it's James Goes Buzz Buzz
It
and
probably
other
was.
stories.
Yep, I do
Mhm.
remember that. Man, I was gonna say something.
What's the buzz? That's what they put on the DVD. That's funny. I like that.
All right, man, I was gonna say something, but I totally forgot. So, that was a great riveting
that was
discussion.
good.
We could talk about this stuff for hours. Interesting. Here's what I was gonna say. Interesting. I'm gonna
Watson's
call
looking
out
ready for me.
I'm gonna call a certain user in this live stream. Turtlesandthomas, you posted a tweet from 2015 saying, "If I get to see Kikray's face, I'll happily remove my mask." It's on Twitter.
Oh, dang!
I'm holding you accountable, Turtles. I know you'll come up with some sassy remark and be like, "It's 2015. It's not changed."
If he does,
No.
block him.
Yeah, everybody, if you're on Twitter, retweet it. Put the pressure on Turtles.
Will you retweet it so it's
Yeah,
it's easily
I
available?
did. I retweeted on my
Yes.
account. I just thought I'd mention that because it's very interesting.
Oh no,
Very
Watson,
interesting.
no,
How's he
stop.
gonna respond? I need to check the comments. I honestly don't know if Turtles is even watching at this point. I saw him comment earlier, but I haven't seen anything from in a while.
I forgot all
okay.
about that tweet until you brought it up.
It's
to me.
okay if Turtles isn't watching. His parents have set a very strict bedtime for him. It's very late where he lives, I bet. And the poor guy, I would say if we weren't streaming on a Friday, he probably has school tomorrow. He's got to get up early. But anyway, oh yeah, it looks like Turtles left, unfortunately. Anyway, you guys all know I totally wrecked him, by the way. Turtles and I, we don't get into spats on Twitter. We get into like insult exchanges.
Sometimes I'm insulted just reading them.
Yeah.
Like, imagining myself in the shoes of mostly him.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Oh my
Oh man,
god.
I got a lot of notifications.
But when you have 85.
This was okay. Twitter.
subscribers.
This is Turtles. Turtles responded on Twitter to that tweet saying he'd remove his mask. He said, "This was if we met up, you absolute dinglings."
Glad to use the word dingling.
I'm glad he brought that back.
Excuses. He just doesn't want. If I can show my face, he can show his face. I mean, that's really. I was gonna when I posted. I was gonna post something on Twitter, and I was gonna call. It was gonna be like the ice bucket challenge. I was like, "Here's my face, Turtles, Percy number 6, some other Thomas YouTubers who haven't shown their face. You're up next. I'm calling you out on it."
We have not reached it yet, so Watson cannot get an apple. So you have saddened him, as you can tell.
Guys, he was hungry. Look at him.
Somebody on Twitter, the Cardi Meister on Twitter. Can I bid on the dog? We talked about doing
He
it.
starts at 300,000 at least.
Rupees, 300,000 rupees.
Yeah.
I want to say he's not for sale, but he broke the dishwasher twice. I can't even
So
tell
you're
that
planning on
story.
getting rid of him?
Yeah, like, he likes to lick the plates when we load the dishwasher. So he's like looking down the plate, get the stuff off. But he got his collar stuck in the tray twice, and it tugged on his neck, and he got scared. So he ran away, but pulled all the trays of all the plates all over the kitchen. And he was so frightened by that, he didn't see where he was going and crashed into the cabinet, smashing more stuff.
Wow.
And this happened twice. So after that, I might consider putting him up for sale.
We jokingly said we should do a day out with Watson, like a day out with Thomas, but you get to hang with Watson, and trust me, he's so entertaining that it will not be a boring day.
Oh, that was almost symmetrical. Our torsos are the same height, actually, but Jason.
Yeah,
has
sit up
very
straight.
long
Sit
legs.
up straight.
Okay, so our torsos.
Diesel
are,
Deed 199 did not believe me. But look at this.
This is our torsos. If we sit up
We're
straight,
sitting
our
on the same
torsos are the
chairs.
same. But his legs are so much longer than the rest of his body, and yeah, like so now if we stand up, look at that.
Like that's my
It's
waist.
all in the legs, guys.
Show where your waist is.
Okay, this is my waist right here.
Yeah.
So there you have it. And that is ThomasWoodenRailway's head.
All right, so I'll do my spiel that I do every couple minutes. Welcome to the Toys for Tots live stream.
Welcome.
I'm ThomasWoodenRailway doing my first official face reveal. It's I hear it's a big deal. I don't know if it is a big deal.
Well, look at your face. I mean, of course it's a big deal.
There's a lot of, oh my gosh, he's a ginger in the comments that are not appreciated.
Oh my gosh, he's so short. You know, that's what I'm going. We spiritually are connected.
Yeah, we each have problems. Welcome to the Toys for Tots live stream. We Enterprising Engine over here. Jason's off screen. We're there's his hand. We're raising money for charity. All bids are welcome. The money's going to Toys for Tots, which is a great organization. It's just fitting that their logo is actually a train. I didn't even think about that till I was doing some logo stuff, and I was like, "Hey, that's fitting." Wait, no, we've raised $300.
Yes. So now that we've raised over $300, we get to do
We're
show
fulfilling-
Watson.
We're fulfilling our
Can
request.
you help with the camera?
Yeah. What do you need me to do?
Just we need a side view of the wall here so they can see his head. Watson.
Is that?
Good boy. All right, get out on the table. Sit. All right, can you see him?
Yes.
All right, so let me see. I can't give him the whole apple because he'll choke. So we'll see. Can you catch, buddy?
Look at that cute face.
All
Here,
right.
can we turn it just a little
might have to
bit
hold it.
more? Like,
Oh, Watson, come on. You can do this on command. You gotta help. You gotta meet me halfway, buddy. All right, Watson, sit. Good boy. I'm regurgitating for my young. There we go. Ready? And apple time.
Wow. Stop. Apple time.
Here we go. Ready and seamless. He just knows. Okay, here we go, buddy. I am regurgitating for my young.
That.
Right now.
Hashtag apple time. Thanks.
This is
Thomas,
his
for
second
following
apple today, by the way. And that's why he is 7 and there are no vets around. So there you go. All right, buddy, you ready? He loves the core too. Like when I finish a whole apple, I'll give him the core and he loves it. Oh, Watson, don't lose it. All right, Watson, sit. Okay, a little bit of apple fell on your head. That's okay. Paw. Give me paw. Watson, paw. Sit. Paw. That's all the way down, Watson. Paw.
He's trying to do the one paw.
Okay,
He's
Watson.
staring at the apple.
Okay, Watson. I gave you a lot of apple. Watson, no. That's insubordination. Give me an apple on your face.
Hand me the apple so he can focus on
Okay.
you. So.
Okay, Watson, sit. No, I think he wants you now.
Okay.
Okay, we gotta give him more apple.
Enterprising Watson 93, Sidekick Watson,
Right?
Thomas Watson Railway. I'm guessing is the other one. That's
Enterprising Engine 90 dog. Oh, Watson. Okay, he's like,
How is the apple? Is it a good apple?
it's a pretty good apple. But he already got it covered in hair, and I haven't even touched him.
Look at that tail wagging there.
Watson Wooden Railway.
All right, bud.
He's so happy.
Ready? There you go, bud. It's a little ambitious for you. I don't want you to choke. Sit.
Oh, look at that.
Paw. Watson, you have to give me paw. Watson, I know the apple's good. You have to cooperate with me.
Maybe hold the apple more towards that side so he can see your
Paw.
hands down there for paw. I don't know.
Paw.
This is so intense.
All right, Watson, you gotta give me paw. I won't give you any more apple. It's a handshake. Watson, give me paw. Paw. You are fixated. Okay. Paw. Oh, that's so much drool. All right,
By the way.
buddy. I'm caving. All right. This is the layup, boy. Can you do it? Ready? Oh, so close. All right, you got most of it. So we do rapid fire with popcorn sometimes, and he's caught like 15 in a row once. It was pretty intense.
Top 10 saddest animated trails in the comments.
Oh, that's great. Great.
All right. I can't do any of that stuff, and I won't unless we reach $1,000, which
I think we'll shave our legs before that.
yeah.
Oh, wait, I've been giving away too many ideas.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, here's something for the comments in the YouTube section. Think of. I mean, we have some ideas right now about what we want to do if we raise a ton of money during this live stream. Try to think of like realistic, less on the humiliation scale, stuff that we could do that you guys would like to see that would be entertaining, that we could do during the live stream. We have some things lined up, but honestly, if something really good comes up, I mean, we might just do that. We'll just do it. So, yeah. Let's do fun fact about each of us.
Those are hard. Trying to decide which one to share.
Wow, somebody's really conceited. They have a lot of interesting facts.
I don't know about that. It's like, well, what have I not shared? And
Sorry, let me say something. A user named Merit Train Boy just commented. That's really cool because I have done some train shows where I live, and I actually set up a Trackmaster layout because the wooden stuff's too static. I actually met a guy. Trying to tell a really cool story. I met a YouTube user named Merit Train Boy. I've met a few people at the train shows, so I just wanted to say hi to him. I do remember you. Thanks for coming and viewing the layout that I had. That's really cool because, and even this meetup's super cool. We could probably talk about that for ages. We do stuff online. There's very little human interaction in what we do, but then coming together,
we sit
like
alone
this.
in our basements. Well, Matt goes outside to be alone.
I sit alone in the woods.
Yeah, you actually get some
creepy
sunlight.
hikers show up.
Yeah. So it's cool to get like this human interaction and dog interaction. Man.
He needs all the brain cells he can get. Don't tap his head that hard.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm like, there. Fluffy beast thing. You is good dog, huh? All right. You have a fun fact?
Fun fact about me. Well, someone actually asked about Watson's origins, and I think I can go into detail about that. Well, Watson was born in Princeton, New Jersey.
On a dark,
We were
stormy
close by
night.
there today, weren't we?
We were very close. And it was a was called Gold Rush Goldens. They're like a group of breeders that breed golden retrievers for contests. So all of his relatives are like prestigious contest dogs. And this is what we got.
You obviously didn't get the best one.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
I
So-
think you have the best
Yeah,
of the bunch.
Watson, no, seriously, Watson has a great personality. Like,
Oh, yeah.
if you follow Enterprising Engine on Twitter, you hear about Watson all the time.
Yeah.
And it was cool meeting these two, but Watson's pretty. awesome.
I think I might have been more excited to meet Watson than I was meeting Matt. Like, I was just ecstatic over it. Watson's personality is not like how it is on the Twitter parody that people have made of him. Watson is so like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, Matt, how would you put it into words?
Watson is definitely like the golden retriever from Up, but he's also, if you look at his face, like there's a voice that goes with his face. Like every time I think of Watson's thoughts, I say it like this because friendship is so important and let's get some snacks. Like that's just kind of his voice.
It's kind of interesting. He told us we knew it was coming, but he talk to Watson, say like, "Hi, Watson," and he'll respond. Matt here will respond in Watson's voice out loud. So it's like, is Matt having like a personality conflict? Like he's struggling to like, keep to himself, but then also, it was just kind of weird when he first did. But then he explained it. I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense.
I have to explain it to house guests because like all my family
It looks like
members
he's
do it.
crazy when he does it, and you're only slightly crazy.
Like, right, Watson? Yes, Matt. You do look crazy when you do that. So, what's
Fire is
going on?
going all the way to the highway. Oh, geez.
Well, where's the?
So
Oh.
it's at my hometown right now. The mountainside
Jeez.
lit on fire. So, sheesh.
Hi, Watson. Okay, that was for something else.
Okay, that was a cool fun fact. Do you have a fun fact?
Fun fact about me, like, say something that might that might like help me figure out
Do
something.
you
about me.
have an interesting anecdote that you would like to share with strangers on the internet?
About what antidote for what?
A fun anecdote. I'm just rephrasing fun fact because
Ever been lost in the woods?
No, I lost my running watch one time though. I was at a week-long church camp, and we had to do this like. I've gone to so many crazy scout camps or church camps where they do like so many ridiculous big things, like these high adventures and stuff. And this one in particular, they like, I can't even remember all the things we did. I just remember it was really crazy. We had like a ropes course. I don't know. Do you guys know what those are?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, those like big things that you have to like get across and work with teams and stuff to do. And so I remember this one particular thing that we had to do is they gave us sandbags. I'm not joking. Sandbags, and we had to, as a team, carry more sandbags than the number of team members to a particular location. And I think like maybe we got like one wagon or something. So there was like different methods, and there was like a pulley system at a certain place. We had to like get them up this hill, and it was like we were almost going like a mile, I think, with these sandbags. It was something crazy. And I remember it was like trying to figure out all the different ways to carry a sandbag without getting tired of carrying it. And I think I like threw the sandbag over my shoulder so many times that the little part of my Nike running watch that I had just like flew off into the woods, and I never saw it again. And I searched for like, I think 3 or 4 hours. So
yeah, just so they were in the bit of the shot. That's not a problem. But,
yeah,
okay. Psychic Jason once lost his watch.
I
Carrying
did.
bags of sand. And it was
Of all the
fun.
facts of my life,
It was-
I don't know.
It was you were having that doesn't sound like fun. That sounds like
I have mixed feelings about Boy Scouts.
okay.
I got my eagle like.
Oh, that's cool. That's your fun
Okay.
fact.
I got my eagle when I was 13 years
Took us a
old.
while
You're
to
an
get
eagle?
there.
Yeah, I'm an Eagle
That
Scout.
takes so long to do.
I
How'd you do it when you were 13 years old?
I just worked hard on my merit badges and stuff. I got all 21 that I needed.
Did you sleep? Did you have friendships? It's so hard to be an Eagle Scout. 13? There are 19-year-olds that were squeaking by to be an Eagle Scout. Did you cross the bridge when you were 8?
I started Cub Scouts when I was 8, actually. So
Okay.
okay, so let me explain a little bit.
That was really funny.
It's really funny. I beat my brother, who is, I think my brother's your age actually.
Really?
And he got his eagle the same week as me. He like went into the interview like right before me, so he won technically. But I mean, I'm 3 years younger, 3 or 4 years, so I think I won in the end.
Yeah,
But-
at 13.
So
Man.
yeah, what happened is I started Cub Scouts when I was like 8. Did like all of that, 11-year-old Scouts, and then did Boy Scouts.
So you destroyed the Rain Gutter Regatta, you obliterated the Pinewood Derby, and just rose to infamy in the Boy Scouts. Like,
It was a little salty.
13, that's when I crossed the bridge into manhood to become a Boy Scout. You had already become an Eagle. How did you bypass the strict process of age and trials and
There
tribulations
is no
to be
age.
an Eagle
It's
Scout?
just the merit badges. You just have to complete all the requirements. And I was lucky, my Eagle project, actually, I was able to do it in coordination with the high school. So I was like repainting bleachers and stuff. And it wasn't as hard as like a lot of people have put out. Like you just have to really put the time. Oh, hi, Watson. I guess he wants me to pet him again.
Sorry, go ahead.
So yeah,
You
anyway,
assaulted
I had
me.
one. Okay, I
was terrible at tying knots, and like everything just fell apart.
How many like camps did you go to, like the week-long camps?
I did a Klondike Derby. Did you do that?
Yeah, I did that. So like
Oh.
the big thing that helped me get through it is when I was 11, 12, and when I was 13. I already had it by the time when I was 13. But they did week-long camps where we go up to. It was usually in like Idaho or Montana, maybe Colorado, some of these different places, and we'd spend the whole week there, and they do these merit badge workshops. So we'd leave camp with like 5 more merit badges, and we'd be able to use all that camping to count towards the camping merit badge and stuff. Because you need like, I think you need 20 campouts to get the camping merit badge, which is required. And so like, I'm an Eagle Scout, but I hate camping like no other. I hate hiking. I hate backpacking. I am not a fan of these like outdoor things because I had to do so much of it when I was so young, and like it was not fun experiences. Plus the group I was in, I didn't actually like have close friends in it because it was like our local church congregation was the unit that they did for our scouting group. And so I was stuck going to like these week-long camps with people who like were jerks to me, and like
I loved camping.
yeah.
I couldn't tie knots.
So
Sorry, my personal biz came up a little bit.
yeah, I'm so sorry that this
Wow,
is like
that was
traumatizing.
that was just so funny. Okay, first off, it was funny that you're like, I have no fun facts about myself.
And now
I lost my Nike watch, hauling bags of sand. And
Oh,
it's
I'm an
like,
Eagle Scout.
Oh, I'm an Eagle
I'm
Scout.
so sorry.
I was like an
people.
Eagle Scout in like what? That's like 7th.
I was also valedictorian at my high school. Okay, like
Why did you
sorry.
mention that?
I don't know. I just couldn't think of it off the top of my head.
Like Don Equus could talk about you for days.
Well,
Oh my
and you know the big life-changing story that happened that diverted my path.
I just
So-
want to have a footnote here. If you ask Jason one question, it is the portal into every facet of his life. And I unintentionally, one night, we went to bed at 10:30, and we were exhausted from a big day hanging out with Nathan. And I asked him this one question, thinking it would be like a 5-minute answer, and we were up to about 2. And this question just branched out into a million different things, and I felt like I know Jason more than anyone else on the planet. So be careful. This
probably
one
do.
question.
Do you want to tell him what the question is?
So if you ever meet Jason in person and you roll over in a hotel bed and say, Jason, what was your first kiss? That is the question that will expound into a million different things. We were in separate beds, so to get
Yes. And I have to say this. As much everyone like on Twitter is like, oh, Jason, you're so lucky. You have the perfect girlfriend. Well, Jason's dating. He has almost 3 times as much dating experience as I have. He has stories. He has done more in his life than I have, okay?
That is a very embarrassing thing to say, and I'd like to change the subject, saying, welcome to the Toys for Tots live stream. All of the
Look at that
proceeds are
wraparound.
going to charity.
I'll share something.
Strange.
So my first date with Lynette, I showed her Diesel D199 shorts. Like, and she loved them.
The rest is history.
So I told her about my
love at
series.
first video.
Yeah, exactly. I told her about my series because it was kind of like, you'll never guess what I do for fun. And she was
So
like,
Trent was your wingman.
In a sense.
in a sense, he helped me out with this.
You better-
So
you better
a
think-
brony on a line, it was
Love
a
is on
classic.
the line.
Oh,
You
I showed her that and it was because we were discussing my YouTube channel, and then she was discussing how like her high school had like a brony club, and then she knew that our university like had one or something, and so it was like, I need to show you something really funny about bronies.
That's really good. That's awesome that. That's awesome that Trent kind of helped you out.
He did. He really did.
Trent's
So-
Diesel D199.
So don't be ashamed of your love for Thomas when it comes to your own personal love life. Don't be like creepy and like first date, like, hi, I'm an obsessed Thomas fan. Nice to meet you. Just giving you that warning.
Just try to work it into the conversation, because you should always be yourself. But know that you shouldn't be ashamed of who you are if it's something that makes you happy or be creative.
Exactly. And most people, like, if you introduce that your love for Thomas is more something that like it's not as a preschool show, but as like what we grew up with, that it's a family friendly show that like families can enjoy, even parents, like you'll find that most people actually understand and enjoy it. Like a lot of the people that I've like at college and stuff have seen some season 20 episodes with me and stuff, and they find them genuinely good, like stories, not for just preschoolers, but like for a family to watch. Like as parents, they would enjoy it. So
That's really cool.
yeah.
Um.
I'm done with my dating advice for the day.
Oh, you know,
It was getting pretty steamy up in here.
I was like, okay. I guess since I brought up the question, we've been talking for like the last 20 minutes about a fun fact, and we've gradually gotten here. So Matt told the story of how he got Watson. Jason finally got to the fact that he
is the most interesting man in the world.
like if
Someone's gonna make that meme.
If Dos Equis needs
this
a
picture.
new spokesperson,
I completely butchered his name. I thought his name was Don Equis. Dos Equis? How do you pronounce it?
I just from the commercials, it's like Dos Equis.
I thought it was
There's
Don
demons.
Equis. That's like Equus is the unicorn that Daniel Radcliffe. is
Hey,
in the
Caleb's
play with.
here.
Oh,
Hey Caleb,
oh my gosh,
we got a lot of friends in the comments.
Caleb, you posted a beautiful screenshot of
Oh,
your
that
set
was
today.
amazing.
We all
Holy
talked
cow.
about it when we.
We're on
saw
the
it.
drive home, and it's like, oh my gosh, look at this, look
Yeah.
at this.
I missed a turn because I was.
The stream would have started on time if we hadn't seen that picture, because Matt was like, "Oh my gosh, that's beautiful!" And we missed the exit, and then we.
No, he went off the wrong exit because he got so
Yeah.
excited.
All right. Before we move on to something else, we've done fun facts. A fun fact about me is I don't think I've told you guys this. I am colorblind.
Oh, I didn't know that.
With what colors?
It's not major. It's not major.
Uh-huh.
It's not a huge deal.
Is
It's
it
not
red and
like
green,
it's not
or-
like
When I was
like
building this yesterday, I asked you. I couldn't tell the orange and yellows apart. You were telling me what to do.
No, that was Jason.
Oh, that was
I-
It
Jason.
was me.
Oh,
So,
okay.
but what type? There's so many types of color blindness. Like, what are the colors in particular that you have a hard time with?
It is mostly red and
Green?
red and green.
Red and green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I found out because in math class in school one year, we the teacher jokingly pulled up, if you search on Google, you search colorblind test, a bunch of tests will come up, and it's really just pictures, and it's a bunch of dots, and usually the dots are two different colors, and the dots that are one color are supposed to form an image. That's a super bad description. Anyway, you Google colorblind tests, you go to images on Google, and these colorblind tests come up. And I heard of colorblind tests, and like for a long time, I've just had trouble seeing if this is black or if it's dark blue or dark green. Like I was a little concerned, but I was like, you know what? Everybody's like that.
So let's do a quick test for the audience. Can you tell us what colors are where on this package?
Yes, it's not major. The thing is that the colorblind test we were looking at, I knew it was a colorblind test, but I couldn't see the design. It was supposed to be like a number 5 or something like that. And I couldn't see it. And I was like, I turned to the person beside me. I was like, are we really supposed to be able to see something there? And the person thought I was joking, like, you get the kids in class that are like, they're just doing it for attention. I legitimately couldn't see what it was. So then not over time, but I mean, we later in the class, like I actually Googled more and I found out that there's a specific term. I took a test one time and it's mild, but it explains something. Here's the perfect example, actually. Old Slow Coach, the wooden railway version, I thought Old Slow Coach I knew in the TV series she was like that brown color. I thought the wooden railway model was more green though. And it's not, it's like brown, but I thought it was green like a whole time. So that's, if you go to very, very, very early episodes of my series, I'll actually use Old Slow Coach as the coach for Emily because I was like, they didn't make wooden railway coaches for Emily. This will kind of suffice. And then now, like looking back on it, I was like, oh, like that probably wasn't a good decision, not because of the whole Old Slow Coach Emily thing, but just because Old Slow Coach doesn't really look like Emily's coaches. So, fun, long story. I guess I'm colorblind. I mean, I took, it sounds really weird. Like I went online and took a test and, it's official, but I just thought I'd mention that. It's nothing major. But you're right, it is like the green and reds.
Oh, okay.
And it's especially, for me, it's like blues and purples. Like this, like I know it's blue. I know his shirt's blue. But you put like a dark purple and a dark blue and even like black next to each other, dark green. All of those kind of start to blend together. And it explains some fashion choices I made a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have good fashion. So, because I thought stuff matched,
And now you do? Like, no,
I still don't. I wore stripes. I was like, you wear stripes, I wear stripes. So
yeah, we've been coordinating which days we wear stripes, but today we didn't care.
That's really funny.
So.
I brought some striped shirts. He brought some. So we've been coordinating except for today because today was a big day. We went to model stores and did this.
Yesterday was also a big
day.
Yeah.
So we've been coordinating. Like, okay, you wear a striped shirt. Okay, then I'll wear a plain shirt. Well, I got like 3 plain shirts left. Well, I got 4 striped shirts. Okay, this will all work out. It'll be fun. All right.
Nathan.
All right. So, yeah.
Miss you, Nathan.
I can see this. It's.
I'll go take that.
Anyway,
I tried to find something that you didn't know.
That's my fun fact.
Distinctly redder.
Because I saw that answered a lot of people's questions when I asked people for questions earlier. They were like
bidding to get the amount, and then. Once they get they'll get their reward once they get the $4 more.
Long story short, to summarize, these guys are for sale.
I guess the ghosts don't like Shining Time Station.
I thought we were having an earthquake here.
Wow.
We've done a lot of cool things on this trip. And I can't think. Gosh,
you guys got to see New York?
Yeah, we did.
Yes, we saw probably
we had
almost everything.
We had a private tour guide chauffeur us around New York. Just it wasn't that fancy, obviously, but we got a tour in New York City.
We have.
And we were all over the place. We saw some of the touristy things like Times Square, but then we also got a very special treat. We kind of got to see New York City in a light that the average person who's not from here, like myself and Jason, don't get to see. We went to a lot of like hole-in-the-wall places that, are.
They're saying in the comments that they'd love it if we read the book Enterprising Engines.
That is incredibly fitting, and we will do that.
What we'll do is when Matt brings it down, we'll let them vote on who is what character. We'll just kind of let them say, and we'll just decide from there. Well, at least one person will be the narrator, and the other 2 will just kind of pick it up.
This is that is incredibly fitting for such a fun live stream.
For sure.
So we're reading the book Enterprising Engines with Enterprising Engine himself,
the man, the myth, and the legend.
So I thought I'll narrate the first one, second one, third one, and we'll just figure out the fourth one.
Sure. Okay. Which one is Enterprising Engine? The 4th story.
I think it's Little Western engines. It's just so late. I'm
Oh
sorry.
yeah, I think that it's in all over the Great Western engine that there's.
Okay,
Resource and sagacity.
our story stops.
No, that's not Oliver. I'm so sorry.
Tenders for Henry. Super Rescue. Escape. Little Western,
Yeah.
which was never adapted because it has to do with. I won't spoil it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think the actual is there a story called Enterprise?
That's what I was looking for.
No, only the book is.
Oh, okay.
That's interesting because I thought I was trying to think of a fun fact. Never mind. All right, go ahead.
Good starters.
Dear Richard, do you remember the photographs you took of what happened to your train on the way to Waterloo in April 1967? Your mother, very kindly, gave me a set, and they helped our artist to draw at least 2 of the pictures for Super Rescue. Anyway, Super Rescue is the story which your pictures told me. I hope you will enjoy it, and the other 3 stories as well. The author.
Wow, I'm crying.
I think that's all we need.
So who is Richard?
Richard is a young boy who wrote to the Reverend with the pictures.
You're right. All right. And at the bottom here, the author gratefully acknowledges the ready help given by Flying Scotsman's owner, Mr. A.F. Pegler, and his assistant, Mr. E. Hoyle, in preparation for this book. So Audrey did not plagiarize. What?
I'm not happy, complained Gordon. Your firebox is out of order, said James. No wonder after all that coal you had yesterday. Hard work brings good appetite, snapped Gordon. You wouldn't understand. I know, put in Duck brightly. It's boiler ache. I warned you about that standpipe on the other railway, but you drank gallons. It's not boiler ache, protested Gordon. It's... Of course it is, said Henry. That water's bad. It furs up your tubes. Your boiler must be full of sludge. Have a good washout. Then you'll feel a different engine. Don't be vulgar, said Gordon huffily. Gordon backed down on his train, hissing mournfully. Cheer up, Gordon, said the fat controller. I can't, sir. The others say I've got boiler ache. But I haven't, sir. I keep thinking about the dreadful state of the world, sir. Is it true, sir, what the diesels say? What do they say? They boast that they've abolished steam, sir. Yes, Gordon, it is true. What, sir? All my Doncaster brothers, drawn the same time as me. All gone, except one. The guard's whistle blew, and Gordon puffed sadly away. Poor old Gordon, said the fat controller. If only we could... Yes, I'll ask his owner at once. He hurried away. Arrangements took time, but one evening, Gordon's driver ran back, excited. Wake up, Gordon! The fat controller's given you a surprise! Look! Gordon could hardly believe it. Backing towards him were 2 massive green tenders, and their engine shape was very like his own. It's Flying Scotsman, he gasped. The fat controller's brought him to see me.
Now on
Oh,
eBay.
thank you, sir.
For 127.
Yep. Bid now.
Gordon's toot of joy was drowned by Flying Scotsman as he drew happily alongside. Next day, the 2 engines were photographed side by side. You've changed a lot, smiled Flying Scotsman. I had a rebuild at Crewe. They didn't do a proper Doncaster job, of course, but it serves. I had a rebuild too. It looked hideous. But my owner said I was an extra special engine and made them give me back my proper shape. Is that why you have 2 tenders, being special? No. You'd hardly believe it, Gordon, but over there, they've hardly any coal and water. But surely every proper railway. Exactly. You are lucky, Gordon, to have a controller who knows how to run railways. He does.
Yeah.
Everyone got on well with Flying Scotsman except Henry. Henry was jealous. Tenders are marks of distinction, he complained. Everybody knows that. Why's he got 2? He's famous, explained Duck and Donald. He was the second to go 100 miles an hour. Besides, the other railway has no coal and water. Pooh, sniffed Henry. I can't believe that. I never boast, he continued, but I always work hard enough for 2. I deserve another tender for that. Duck whispered something to Donald. Henry, asked Duck innocently, would you like my tenders? Yours? Exclaimed Henry. What have you got to do with tenders? All right, said Duck. The deal's off. Would you like them, Donald? I wouldn't deprive you of the honor. It is a great honor, said Duck thoughtfully, but I'm only a tank engine, so I don't really understand tenders. Perhaps James might. I'm sorry I was rude, said Henry hastily. How many tenders have you? And when can I have them? 6, and you can have them this evening. 6 lovely tenders, chortled Henry. What a splendid sight I'll be. That'll show the other engines the sort of engine I am. Henry was excited. Do you think I'll be all right? He asked for the upteenth time. Of course, said Duck. Just go where I told you, and they'll all be ready. Meanwhile, word had gone round, and the others waited where they could get a good view. Henry was cheered to the echo when he came, but he wasn't a splendid sight. He had 6 tenders, true, but they were very old and very dirty. All were filled with boiler sludge. Have a good washout, Henry, called a voice. That's right. You'll feel a different engine now. Henry wasn't sure, but he thought the voice belonged to Gordon.
Bum, 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 bum.
I didn't realize that the educating Gordon Day line was not in this story, but debuted in the television series. That's one of those savage lines that was thrown in.
You honestly forget they adapted this story. Granted, they changed a few things. They didn't use like the full Flying Scotsman model, but there is. I mean, I believe the episode is still called Tenders for Henry, but that's weird. Like,
I think it's called Tender Engines.
You know what? It's tender engines.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's so weird to me because we got to see the tenders on the Flying Scotsman, but it is not like it's almost like a hidden gem.
It really is. And what's cool about this is the fact that when they adapted it, it wasn't just like, it didn't start out with the banter of these engines establishing everything. It instead, it kind of expands that beginning, and you get, Gordon and James having that conversation at the coal hopper, and then James talking with Duck, and the whole, what's this, educating Gordon Day? And then you get to the conversation, and then then the plot moves forward. So this is probably one of the most loosely adapted episodes.
Really,
because Thomas and Diesel are in the adapted version, and that changes the story.
Really, the
much.
only thing that carries over is just the kicker at the end. Where Henry runs by with the boiler-filled tenders, or the boiler sludge tenders.
Yeah.
All right, next one. Super Rescue. All right. I have not read this story in a while, so here we go. Super Rescue. The 2 Diesels surveyed the shed. It's time, 7101, said one, that we took this railway over. Shh, 199. It's their railway after all. Not for long, persisted 199. Our controller says steam engines spoil our image. Of course we do, snapped Duck. We show what frauds you are. Call yourselves engines. If anything happens, you care nothing for your train. You just moan for a fitter. We bring it home, if only on 1 cylinder. Nothing, boasted 199, ever happens to us. We are reliable. Vulgar noises greeted this. How rude, said 199. You asked for it, growled. I'm just going to call him 7101. Now shut up. Next day, Henry was rolling home tender first. I'm a failed engine, he moaned. Lost my regulator. Driver says it's jammed wide open, and he can't mend it till I'm cool. However, he went on, I've got steam, and driver can use my reverser, but it would happen after Duck fooled me with those tenders. Now they'll laugh at me again. He reached the signal box and stopped, whistling for a road. Opposite the box, on the up line, stood Diesel 199 with a train of oil tankers. Worse and worse, thought Henry. Now, old Reliable will laugh at me too. The signalman came out. For pity's sake, take the spam can away. It's failed. The limited is behind, and all he does is wail for his fitter. Spam can, fumed 199. I'm stow it, snapped the signalman, or I'll take my tin opener to you. Now then. 199 subsided at this dreadful threat, and Henry pulled the train out of the way. The diesel didn't help. He just sulked. Jeez. Wow. The limited rushed by with a growl and a roar. Henry gave a chuckle. Look, Spam Can, he said. There's your little pal. The diesel said nothing. He hoped 7101 hadn't noticed. 7101 hadn't noticed. He had troubles of his own. He was very cross with his coaches. They seemed to be getting heavier. He roared at them, but it did no good. Engines have a pump called an ejector, which draws air out of the train's brakes to keep the brakes off. If it fails, air leaks in and the brakes come on, gently at first, then harder and harder. 7101's ejector had failed. The brakes were already leaking on while he passed Henry. He struggled on for half a mile before being brought to a stand, growling furiously, unable to move a wheel. Well, 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 did you hear what the signalman said? I thought they'd be laughing at me, chuckled Henry. Now the joke's on them. Moving 2 dead diesels and their trains, said his driver thoughtfully. That's no joke for a failed engine. Do you think you can do it? I'll have a good try, said Henry with spirit. Anyway, 7101's better than old Spam Can. He did try and shut him up last night. Come on then, said his driver. We mustn't keep the passengers waiting. Get moving! Henry puffed at the sulky diesel in motion and started the rescue. Henry gently buffered up to the express. While the 2 drivers talked, his fireman joined his front brake pipe to the coaches. It's better than we thought, Henry, said his driver. The diesel can pull if we keep the brakes off, so the only weight we'll have is Spam Can's goods. Whoosh, said Henry. That's a mercy. He was, by now, feeling rather puffed. Poop, 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 poop. Are you ready? Tooted 7101. Peep, peep, peep. Yes, I am, whistled Henry. So, with 7101 growling in front and Henry gamely puffing in the middle, the long cavalcade set out for the next big station. Donald and Flying Scotsman were waiting. They cheered as Henry puffed past. He braked the coaches thankfully. Spam Can and the tankers trailed far behind. The passengers buzzed out like angry bees, but the Fat Controller told them about Henry, so they forgot to be cross and thanked Henry instead. They called him an enterprising engine and took his photograph. They were thrilled too when Flying Scotsman backed down on their train. If the guard hadn't tactfully shooed them away to their coaches, the train would have started later than ever. Donald took the goods. Return 199 to the other railway, ordered the Fat Controller. I'll write my views later. Henry and 7101 went away together. I'm sorry about last night, ventured the diesel. That's all right. You did shut old Reliable up. And, said the diesel ruefully, you made a fool of myself today, too. Rubbish! The failed ejector might happen to anyone. I'd lost my regulator. You failed? Exclaimed the diesel. And yet, his voice trailed away in admiration. Well, said Henry, emergency, you know. Trains must get through. 7101 said no more. He had a lot to think about.
One thing I never noticed about this story, which it would have actually made a huge difference to the classic series had it been adapted, is the fact that I don't think any other diesel engine that comes to Sodor in the classic series comes bad and becomes converted to good in it. I think all the bad ones are sent away in disgrace.
There's like Daisy, who's bad at first, but I wouldn't say this evil.
Yeah, she's not evil. She's just, annoying and stubborn
Yeah.
and like that. But it's not a Steamies versus Diesel type thing. And
He's trying not to have Diesel 199 boast not because he doesn't agree, but because he's not trying to be awkward. And he still
Yeah.
believes what Diesel 199 is saying, but he has the social awareness to be like, shut up, don't say this.
Yeah,
I want to
that's a great
sleep
point.
here, you know.
so it would have been so like I almost wonder, had this story been adapted, like I wonder how much it would have changed the course of the series, because maybe it would have like affected the Steamies versus Diesel thing, so it wasn't such a hardline division type of thing. Because I mean, there was a few good Diesels that were a part of the series and stuff, but like I think having Bear, who's like this converted type one, would have made a huge difference.
Well, that's it in the Railway series. I totally forgot about this. The steam engines and the diesels hate each other, like way more than you ever see in the TV series, and it just shows right there.
The TV series is kind of stupid. It's just basically racism, where it's like,
Yeah.
a diesel can't do that job.
Yeah.
Let me deliver the balloons. Like,
Yeah.
so, yeah. Anyway, that would have just been interesting to see, just not because of just the fact that we get 2 more characters, but like what it would have done to the actual series itself.
Yeah.
So, all right. Escape, another episode that was adapted kind of, well, loosely, definitely. I
Yeah.
mean, considering this whole book really is,
They kind of skimmed
2
over it a little bit.
2 stories didn't even get adapted in it, and then
I believe the last one got shoved in with
this one, yeah, it was just kind of merged in. So like, I mean, it didn't get the full stories, and then these ones were so heavily modified. Like this is definitely a peculiar book in the Railway series of the Reverend's work.
Yeah.
So
good choice.
yeah, for sure.
Great choice.
It's a good one to read because you don't normally get to, you don't hear this while watching the TV series.
Yeah.
So, all right. Douglas had taken the midnight goods to a station on the other railway. He was shunting, ready for his return journey, when he heard a faint hiss. That sounds like a steam engine, he thought. The hiss came again. This time it sounded almost despairingly. Who's there? He asked. A whisper came. Are you the Fat Controller's engine? Aye, and proud of it. Thank goodness. I'm Oliver. We're escaping to your railway, and we've run out of coal, and I have no more steam. Is it from scrap you're escaping? Yes. Then it's glad I'll be here to help you, but we must work fast. Both crews joined in. They took off Oliver's side rods, wrote out transit labels, and chalked scrap everywhere they could. Duck marshaled Oliver in front of his train. No time to turn around, he panted. I must run tender first. Yoo-hoo, yoo-hoo, a passing diesel. A steamer's escaping, yoo-hoo. Douglas puffed firmly on. Take no notice, he counseled, but they were stopped before they could clear the station throat. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I've never heard that.
It does say station
Throat, literally a throat.
That's
so
really
I've never
bizarre.
noticed that before.
The station esophagus.
Yeah.
I've reached the heart of the station. Now the lungs. All right. The foreman's lamp shone on Oliver. Aha! He exclaimed. A Western engine. His light flickered further back. A Western auto coach? And a goods brake, too. You can't take these. Can we know? Said Douglas's driver. They're all for us. See for yourself. Douglas's guard showed him the labels and paper. Oliver's crew, hiding in the coach, hardly dared to breathe. Seems in order, said the foreman grudgingly.
This didn't age
Wow,
well.
This didn't age well. What I said about the Reverend, we can probably take back at this point. So, seems in order, said the foreman grudgingly, but it's queer. Sure, and it is, began the guard, but I could tell you queer. So could I. I can't get over this. So could I, interrupted the foreman.
This didn't make it into the TV series. But
For obvious reasons. Right away, guard. A near thing, puffed Douglas with relief. We've had worse, smiled Oliver. We ran at night. Friendly signalmen would pass us from box to box when no trains were about. We got on well till Control heard about a mystery train. Then they tried to hunt us down. What did you do? A signalman let us hide in an old quarry branch. Driver and fireman and guard blocked the cutting with rubbish and levered one of the approach rails away. We stayed there for days, with diesels banging and growling like hounds outside. I was very frightened then. Small blame to you, said Douglas feelingly. Presently they rumbled over the bridge and onto the Fat Controller's railway. We're home! They can't catch you now! Tell Isabel and Toad, please. Douglas called out the news and heard a joyful tingling, tingling. He was surprised. Oliver chuckled. That's Isabel, he said. There's a bell on her, you see. She's clever. When we go out together, I pull one way and she push another and push the other. When I pull, I can see ahead. When I push, I can't. So Isabel keeps a good lookout and rings her bell to talk to me. You didn't say, Douglas was impressed. About this Toad, he continued. Is he... Hard your wishin', said his driver. What? Yon the works. We must slip in unbeknownst and find a place for Oliver. Douglas tried hard to be quiet, but the night foreman heard them and had to be told their secret. I know just the place, he said, and showed them an empty siding nicely hidden away. Oliver said goodbye and thank you, and Douglas puffed away. Yon's an enterprising engine, he thought. I want away here with Donald, but I've been feared to do it on my own.
All right, you can do the last one.
It's so interesting to see how different it was.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being the crew members for Oliver? They left everything to take this engine to safety.
I read an analysis of every story, and people have argued this is the most unrealistic story because I don't think a crew would ever hijack their scrapped locomotive to save it.
Mm.
But it's still really cool because it illustrates, steam engines they weren't being hunted down, but they weren't being replaced. But from their perspective, it felt like they were being hunted.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
it's a really cool story, and
It
atmospherically, it's awesome.
I think people there's so much more character to Oliver too, rather than he was just helplessly left there in a scrapyard and Douglas was the one who came and saved him. Oliver was already escaping from this. So, it almost, in a TV series, it makes it seem like this yard on the mainland is just this dark, dreary, place full of death. But yet, Oliver, experienced that from his own railway. He saw his railway change and had to run from that. And, I don't, definitely darker, but more interesting, I think. So.
All right, you go, man.
Douglas arrived back in time to see Flying Scotsman take his enthusiasts home. The Fat Controller said they had all been honored and thanked Flying Scotsman and his owner for their help. Please tell everyone, he went on, that whatever happens elsewhere, steam will still be at work here. We shall be glad to welcome all who want to see and travel behind real engines. This announcement was greeted with cheers, and Flying Scotsman departed to the strains of "Will you no come back again?" led, as one might expect, by Donald and Douglas. At last, Douglas could tell his news. They were all excited about it and agreed that something must be done for Oliver. "I am feared," said Donald, "some murdering diesel may creep in, and him there alone, lacking steam even to whistle for help." "You're right," said James. "He won't be safe till the Fat Controller knows." "Douglas should tell him at once," said Gordon firmly. "Is it me to speak to the Fat Controller? It's forward he'd thank me and maybe interfering." "Well, here he is," said a cheerful voice. "Now what's this all about?" Duck broke the awkward silence. "Beg pardon, sir, but we do need another engine." "I agree, Duck. That is why I'm giving 7101 another chance." Their faces showed such dismay that the Fat Controller had difficulty with his own. "Sir," ventured Gordon at last, "we had hoped for a real engine." "They," said the Fat Controller gravely, "are rare, and unless one escapes, there's little hope." "But, sir," burst out Donald, "one has!" "And thanks to Douglas, is now at our works," announced the Fat Controller. "Sir," gasped Douglas, "is there anything you don't know?" "More than you think," He laughed. Oliver's crew told me all you did, Douglas. Ach, sir, you couldn't have brought a wee engine and leave him in trouble and not do a wheel's turn. More than a wheel's turn, I fancy. Douglas, I'm pleased with you. Oliver, Isabel, and Toad will soon be ours. Oliver and Isabel are just what we need for Duck's branch line. Loud cheers greeted this announcement. And Toad wants to be your brake van, Douglas. Thank you, sir. I'd hoped for that. He and I do brawly together. That, of course, made everything right. Henry spoke a good word for 7101, and the others gave him a welcome. He had good manners for a start, so Henry didn't find it hard to teach him our ways. 7101 finds them different from those of the other railway, but much more interesting. He is now quite a useful engine. They teased him at first because of his growls. They said he was like a bear. He still growls, not because he is cross, but because he can't help it. His name, Bear, has stuck. He likes it. It's nicer than just a number, he says. Having a name means that you really belong. The Fat Controller soon had Oliver, Isabel, and Toad mended and painted in full Great Western colors. Then he rescued 3 more Western auto coaches. 2, Alice and Maribel, he gave to Duck. The third, Dulcie, joined Oliver and Isabel. Duck and Oliver are happy on their branch line. It runs along the coast to the small railway. We reopened branches, they boast. They are very proud of this indeed. The others laughed at first and called their branch the Little Western. Duck and Oliver were delighted, and now no one ever thinks of calling it anything else.
That was beautiful.
Single tear once a year. Well, that was an excellent stream.
I think
we got
we'll
a
end
lot
it there.
done.
Look, should we check the totals one last time?
Sure.
I think we should.
Let's
Let
do
everyone
that.
know.
Just for kicks.
We should probably do an arm wrestle too, so that way I can claim victory over the community.
I would like to leave.
You want to arm wrestle me?
Yeah,
I'll just let you win.
No, I just
All right.
Oh,
you're ruining my fun.
So Jason's gonna check the final bidding. One thing I just looked at it really fast. One thing I noticed is, surprisingly, Jungle Thomas has a bid. Somebody's gonna spend at least $4.99 on him. So he's going to.
They're donating that $4.99 to charity.
Not surprisingly, Flynn doesn't have a bid. We can't blame you. Charlie doesn't have a bid. We can't blame
We'll
you.
double check and see. Maybe they got one now.
Everybody, thank you so much. We're not going to end right now, but we're definitely on the tail end of the stream. Excuse me. So, man, a lot of fun. Yeah, it's just late where we are. We got a late start, and we have been going at this for 3.5 hours at least. So we're pretty tired. My voice is kind of shot.
My silky smooth Jersey accent is also shot.
But I'll tell you what, hearing these guys here read stories out of this book, full circle almost. You know, I grew up with this exact same book. Yours is actually in better condition than mine is. I'll need to do that. I will need to go back and actually read through these old stories and kind of see, you know, the small things they've changed here and there. Because you forget so much. In total, Jason? This is what I liked reading as a kid. For those who don't have this book, it's got, that's cool. Matt got this for Christmas, 1998.
There's a little sticker
There's a
inside.
sticker. So, what I like about
19
this,
what year?
1998.
So I was 5 years old.
Oh, so I got mine a couple years after you then. Holy cow.
So, one thing I liked about this book, obviously, like the stories were cool, but then at the end, it kind of has an afterword. It has a picture of the Reverend. Actually, does a very nice job explaining his life. Oops, I'm sliding here. And then on the next page, I think it goes through the illustrators. Oh no, this is still the Reverend. Then it goes through the illustrators, which I thought was super cool.
The Edwards are my favorite.
Yeah,
I love
everybody has
stuff.
their favorites. He likes the Edwards, which did.
They did Enterprising Engines.
Yeah, they
They
did
did
Enterprising
Mountain
Engines. Makes
Engine.
sense. I personally like the second guy. Yeah, so I mean, I thought This is the guy that Audrey did not like. C.
I
Reginald
like
Dalby.
his work.
Yeah, I think his stuff is very post-war, picturesque, like perfect, almost like a utopian, bright colors, like super bright colors. Like the future is amazing. I think my favorite, at least, is John T. Kenny. I just forgot his name. And then definitely isn't their last name? Oh no, their last name are the Edwards. But one of the guys, or excuse me, one of the guys, Gunver. I just remember that name was super unique. I was like, oh wow. Wait, isn't there a conspiracy like one of these actually only did the painting and that might be totally wrong. I thought there was a bit of a conspiracy that was like either Peter or Gunver did like majority, like way majority of the paintings, but they always were dual credited, even though that wasn't necessarily the case. I thought I heard something about that.
I'd like to think there was a married couple that tag teamed these excellent drawings.
I want to
together.
say I don't know.
that.
I don't know if anybody in the comments will know, but I thought I heard something that for some reason it was either Peter or Gunver. One of them did like 95% of the work, but they were still dual credited for some reason. So I always thought that was a very cool way to end the book. And then on the last page, from Thomas, well, the TV series episode is Thomas Meets the Queen, but it has a picture of what would eventually be known as the Steam Team. And then on the front, at the very beginning of the book and the very end, is a map of Sodor. And I looked over this for ages as a kid because I was like, oh, there's actually a rhyme and a reason, to all this stuff happening. And I was confused. I was like, in the TV series episodes, Henry gets stuck in the tunnel, all the way over here, but Knapford's here. So I was like, in the episodes, it makes it seem like they leave a station and boom, they're at Henry's tunnel, like just a short while away. I was very confused by that as a kid. So anyway, this is probably on eBay. I highly recommend it because it's just everything in one shop. So
yeah, thank you guys so much for contributing. $350 roughly is great.
Yeah.
I think I wouldn't be surprised if by the end with the biddings and whatnot that we get like above 400, which that's so incredible. You guys are awesome. Glad we've been able to do this.
Yeah, you want to say anything, man?
Yeah, thank you so much for your participation, just having fun with us tonight. And we really look forward to what we can do to make someone's holiday season a bit better. And thank you for making our night a lot more fun too.
Yeah.
So I think we all had a good time today.
We did have a great time. So I think we'll call it there. Thanks everybody so much. It was a really, really fun time.
It really was.
Hope you guys enjoyed it. Especially, I saw somebody.
Enjoy this face.
You
earned it.
It'll be back. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, I saw one person in the comments like they've been.
Next.
I hope we gotta pressure him. Peer pressure's not.
He's
a good
mad
thing.
now. I saw on Twitter that people are pressuring him, but keep it going. Make him take it off.
I saw somebody in the comments that said they've been here since like the 12-minute mark, which, that's like 3 hours. So anyway,
Well done.
Let's call it a night. Thanks everybody so much.
Good night, everybody. Good night.
You guys are awesome. Thanks.